1 hour, 35 minutes, 27 seconds.
Bob Ramey at FOMC Pictures asked me to make a movie of a book called The Philadelphia Experiment. I thought it was a cool story until I started writing the script and realized it has no third act. So I came to Bob Ramey on bended knee and I said, I can't do this. I don't know how to make it work. He said, you owe me a movie. And I said, well, I have this script in my trunk since 1973 or 4 called Escape from New York. So I let him read that. He said, sure, let's do it.
John Carpenter had written Escape from New York when he was at USC, and he had actually written it with Clint Eastwood in mind. So with the success of The Fog, FOMC asked us what we wanted to do next, and we pulled out this old script, Escape from New York, with Clint Eastwood in mind, and we brought it to them, and they loved it, and they said, yeah, they would love to do it. Let's do a rewrite to make it funnier, to make it hipper. And so we brought Nick Castle in to work with John.
He brought all the humor. He brought the whole idea of the American Bandstand piece being the one that we switched tapes with. He brought a lot of the lines.
Get a new president.
We fleshed out the cabbie character, the brain character, all the kind of humorous exchanges Nick and I worked on together. He brought that kind of spark to it.
John really wanted Kurt Russell to be Snake Plissken, and the studio wanted Tommy Lee Jones. So we went to Tommy Lee Jones first, and he passed. And after he passed, then Kurt got to be Snake.
Working with Kurt is always a dream. We worked together on Elvis for the first time, and we love working with each other. We have a great time. We have very similar brains in terms of movie making. Politically and every other way, we're very separate people, but in terms of movie making, we have the same approach.
In many ways, Kurt Russell is Snake Plissken as much as John Carpenter is Snake Plissken. I mean, there are two sides of Snake Plissken, and that's John and Kurt, and they're very, very connected.
I know who you are.
Snake Plissken.
But I heard you were dead.
Heard you were dead.
Thought you were dead.
A friend of mine from film school told me about this legendary kind of punk teenager that went to his high school, Snake Plissken, Larry Plissken. And he says, what a great name. Just an insane name. And literally the guy said, call me Snake. So I thought, that's a great character.
I'm not a full Plissken. Call me Snake.
When we needed to do a publicity shoot as Snake Plissken before we'd actually fully designed his outfit and everything, we actually had him in fatigues, in army fatigues, and he looked kind of like, you know, join the army now. And he wasn't the anti-hero that we really wanted him to be. And he put these clothes on and went, this isn't how Snake Plissken would dress. And so a lot of who Snake Plissken is and what he looks like on film is because he was invented by Kurt and John. From the eye patch to the tight-fitting shirt and combat pants to the boots and who he was.
Escape from New York wanted more money to make it. I mean, we just barely put that movie together. That's an ambitious experience for $5 million. I mean, shooting at night is very tough. It's not very fast. You have to light everything. It was a tough go for us.
Escape from New York was a very complex movie to shoot. First of all, a huge amount of special effects, which required building a model of Manhattan.
John Walsh was a special effects animator, and he built basically a cardboard city, a New York skyline, and painted it in green line, like a grid, and just shot it with a camera. And then we rephotographed it on a television set.
We had an enormous action shoot with lots and lots and lots of extras. We needed to find a place that was, you know, post-apocalyptic, a place that didn't exist. And so it required a great deal of production design and a lot of special effects. So it ate up that $5 million very, very quickly.
Well, we had to look around for some city that looked like destroyed. It takes place in New York City, but New York was out of the question. We couldn't shoot there. We didn't have the money. It's extremely difficult to shut down all those streets. We had to find a place that looked ruined, so we found the perfect location, and that was St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis had recently had an urban fire which burnt down most of the waterfront area. And so you would have these huge blocks of burned out buildings that just went on forever and ever and ever, as far as you could see, just buildings burned to the ground. And so it was really a very sort of a post-apocalyptic look that we wanted for the city of Manhattan.
We had a great deal with the city. They let us shut down the street lights, they let us light, they let us set fires, they let us put a crashed plane. I mean, we couldn't have gotten more cooperation.
Every day we would bring in the rubbish that would fill the streets, and we would, bring in these tall cans, and we would light fires, and we'd have smoke and all this kind of stuff. And every morning by 6 a.m. we had to clear the streets because this was a working community, a working city.
And we got to use the famous, it's been restored now, the famous Fox Theater in St. Louis. That's kind of a rock and roll theater. That's where rock and roll kind of began. And Chuck Berry played there. So we got to use the exterior of that. It was a cool place.
So we shot at night. It was extremely hot. I remember it was the hottest summer. Sometimes at night it was over 100 degrees, extremely humid and very buggy. I think we shot something like 56 days. And then we shot some back here in Los Angeles, and we have one shot in New York. The one shot that we shot in New York City is the opening shot of the movie, and it's a helicopter shot of the Statue of Liberty. And we come around the Statue of Liberty and come down to the doors, and the doors open up, and Tommy Atkins walks out. And he walks past a building, which is in black, and we take that black and we fade it with the same building, same side of the building here in Sepulveda Dam in LA, and that's the opening reveal of the base. And so it's the only shot we shot in Manhattan.
Associate producer on the film, Peggy Brotman, had been a casting director, and she said, you know who hasn't been seen in a long time is Lee Van Cleef. And how cool was he back in the old days, and how cool was he in spaghetti westerns? And so I met with him, and he was cool. I mean, he is Lee.
John Carpenter and I consider that we have a family of not only behind-the-scenes crew that we work with all the time, like Dean Cundy and Tommy Lee Wallace and Tommy Causey, our sound man, but we also have an on-camera family as well, and that's Jamie Lee Curtis and Adrienne Barbeau and Kurt Russell, and I think Donald Pleasance was really another character who we loved.
We always talked about that the president was Ronald Reagan's illegitimate child with Margaret Thatcher, to kind of give an excuse for the British accent. I thought the president is supposed to kind of be a corrupt idiot.
Good evening.
We just thought, here we are making fun of the presidency of the United States. Donald Pleasance has a great sense of humor. He's English. He's kind of comes off as sort of a buffoon. And so we had fun with the character.
I sent the script to Donald, and Donald would always test me. He would say, well, why should I make this film? Explain to me why I should do this. So I wrote this impassioned letter to him. I need you to play it because you will bring comedy to this role. You'll make this president something ridiculous, is what I need.
Mr. President?
One of the things that we wanted to do on Escape from New York is we had an ensemble cast that was supported Snake Plissken, this bunch of people that we ran into in Manhattan, and they were all, again, archetypes of the kinds of people that would be successful in a Manhattan that has become a prison, and that's a dark, horrible place to live. And so, therefore, we have the role of Cabby, played by Ernest Borgnine.
You're Snake Plissken, ain't you?
We wanted this Cabby to sort of be the storyteller. I mean, that's what Cabby does. He connects the dots for people. He connects the people in the movie. Adrienne Barbeau played this really tough character of Maggie, and we wanted to put her in a relationship with a guy. If you were living in Manhattan, what do you need most of anything? You need oil and gas. You need power. You need electricity. So we wanted to create this character of Brain, played by Harry Dean Stanton, and put him together with Maggie as a couple. Then, of course, the Duke of New York, Isaac Hayes. He came in. He was really, really wonderful. Again, we wanted a bigger-than-life, archetypal character to be cast in an ensemble support team for St. Plissken.
You touch me, you die.
Well, I had used Frank Doubleday before as a killer in Assault on Precinct 13, and he did a great job for me. He's just this kind of man who is a gun, and he's just this remorseless killer. So I offered him the role, and he kind of made it his own. He got his hair to stick up in the air, and played it just insanely. He did a great job. That's his own characterization.
one of the things that we wanted to do in the film in terms of Snake Plissken's character is once he's captured by these criminals in the prison of Manhattan, they put him through different tests. They want to test his courageousness, they want to test his will to live, they want to test how strong he is. And one of the ideas was to put him in a ring in Madison Square Garden with the biggest, baddest guy we could find. And so casting him, we wanted a real wrestler, we wanted somebody who's just, the image of him would make people cringe.
We wanted to cast somebody who looked giant, so we cast a giant. Ox Baker is 70-something feet tall, been a pro wrestler for years. I mean, it seemed obvious.
The final sequence of the movie where they're running across the bridge and trying to escape, which is really supposed to be the George Washington Bridge, leading to New Jersey. And what we ended up doing was we found an abandoned bridge that was owned by the United States government. And for $1, we purchased it. And we were able to use this expansive bridge for our set. Adrienne Barbeau's character, Maggie, was shot on the bridge, but we didn't actually see her die. And so when we edited the movie together, we realized that it was ambiguous to the audience. So we actually filmed her in her house where she lives now, getting shot in the driveway, a close-up of her lying in a pool of blood. And we inserted that shot into the original movie.
Once I had it cut together, I had a little screening for some folks, some friends. I showed them the movie, and they said they were kind of not responding to the film. And finally, at the end, I said, well, tell me what you thought. And they said, we didn't know what the movie was going to be about for so long because of that opening, because of the opening sequence. We had a 10-minute sequence showing how Kurt Russell's character, Snake Plissken, is arrested right before he comes to prison, showing him trying to pull off a bank robbery. So I just threw away the first reel.
What I love most about Escape from New York is that the film is a statement about how I feel that we must protect people's libertarian rights, that we really need to be, we can't legislate right from wrong. People themselves need to find the goodness in them. And I think it makes a political statement.
I have a part of my personality that loves outlaws and outsiders and anti-heroes, and I truly have a problem with authority. And any chance I can get to belittle authority, I love to do it. I just can't help myself. So I think probably I made everybody corrupt in this world, every single person corrupt in this world, it is entirely a nihilistic corruption blanket of this future. I don't feel that all authority figures are bad, but authority is a human construction. And being something that's human, it's prone to corruption and mistakes. But you have to have it. You have to have order in order to have a civilization. But anything that's constructed by man is it perhaps may not be perfect.
You gonna kill me now, Snake?
I'm too tired. Maybe later.
We'd make one hell of a team, Snake.
The name's Pliskin.
Snake Plissken is really the only man with honor because he doesn't care about anybody. He doesn't care about saving your life. He doesn't care about killing you. All he cares about is moving on.
I think Snake Plissken represents the other side of America, the unpatriotic, patriotic side of America, the kind of character that we all want to be but are afraid to be. He's a guy who doesn't want to be told what to do. He's a guy who doesn't want us to legislate laws that take away personal freedoms. And that's why I think he's so cool. He's an anti-hero, and I think that's what makes America love him so much.